Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, visitors. I'm Lorna Bright. I'm the minister here at Unity Center of the Desert. Beth Jonda, it's nice to meet you. Heard about you from Kathy Keel. And Joy, it's nice to see you. Heard about you from Wendy, our beautiful Wendy. Love her to pieces. We love Kathy, too. Some of us more than others. Well, you might notice from my imaginary banner across the front here that our theme is ready to grow. Or you might be on our mailing list and you opened your e-newsletter and saw that the theme for June is ready to grow. That might mean something different to you than it does to me. Maybe you're ready to grow spiritually. Or maybe you're ready to grow in an area of your life that you've been dealing with. Maybe you're ready to express more of yourself, grow into a greater expression of yourself, more creativity. Maybe you've been in a state of letting go of an unhealthy relationship, and you're ready to grow into more love and more harmony and balance in your relationships. Or maybe you've been dealing with a financial situation, and you're just tired of looking at it. You don't want to look at that anymore, and you want to turn toward prosperity and grow a prosperity consciousness, we call it. Or maybe you've been dealing with health, and you're ready to uproot those weeds of weakness, those weeds of sickness, and you're ready to plant seeds of health and vitality and energy and well-being. Well, when we're talking about growing, we can't help but think of nature and of plants and seeds and shrubs and flowers and bushes and things like that. And many teachers of many religions for centuries have used the analogy of the seed to talk about our growth. Jesus the Way Shower used many agrarian type parables to explain the kingdom of heaven that is within each one of us. You might remember that parable about the seed, about some seed fell on the rocky places. Remember that? Some fell on the side of the road, and some fell on good, nourishing soil, where it grew and blossomed, some reaping 100-fold. You remember that? Well, in metaphysical circles and New Thought especially, we talk about how our thoughts are seeds that create our reality. We talk a lot about that, don't we? Well, I want to expand on that because there are many vibrational energies that go out from us, creating our reality. Feelings, emotions go out from us, creating our reality. Maybe you've walked into a room or someone has walked into a room and you can just feel it, that they're happy or they're sad. And that, of course, is creating their reality not only in their body, but in their environment. Perceptions are vibrational energies that go out from us. Beliefs are vibrational energies. I remember a few years ago sitting across from some people at a banquet table. They didn't even talk to me. They didn't say a word. But their beliefs were emanating out from them. Beliefs, intentions are vibrational energy that goes out from us. Maybe you've been around, you ever been to Time Warner or Verizon, and you're standing in line there, and you can tell there's somebody in back of you that has a strong intention. They're not saying anything, but you can tell they've got the intention to talk to the manager about their cable bill. Or maybe you've been around somebody that has a high intention, that they want to live life to the fullest. That's fun to be around someone like that. Or someone that wants to love unconditionally, love themselves, love all people, let all they do be done in love. You can feel it, can't you? You can catch that intention. Those are all vibrational energies that go out from us. Our beliefs, our perceptions, our intentions, our thoughts, our words. The Christian Bible says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And as we've talked about before, that Greek word there that's simply translated word, it's the Greek word logos. It has such a deep, rich, full meaning, and it doesn't have an adequate translation from the Greek to the English. What that word really means is all the inherent potentialities of being. So what that sentence says is that in the beginning, whenever that was, were all the inherent potentialities of being. All the inherent potentialities of being have always been and will always be. They were with God and they are God. That's talking about God as the creative principle of the universe. Hinduism talks about how, as creation began, that this divine, all-encompassing consciousness that we call God took the form of the first vibration, manifesting in the sound Om. Om is the symbol of the manifestation of God in form. When you think about it, our ability to manifest words and manifest our life, that we do all the time, speaking our word, it's a really complex, amazing process. It all begins with an idea, a thought, an urge, a desire, a choice that wells up within us to such an extent we take a deep breath and breathing in oxygen and prana, the life force of the cosmos, and this air fills our lungs. It goes up into our throat area, causing our vocal cords to vibrate, and the vibration of our vocal cords together produces a tone to which we are capable of putting form and shape to, and out comes a word. It's an amazing ability, isn't it? Very powerful ability. We could say that the vibration that we are is coming into manifestation. That the breath of God is breathing in and through us. That the vibration of the cosmos is vibrating through us. That the tone that's vibrating our vocal cords is like the eternal song of the divine manifesting in and through and as each one of us. Powerful stuff, isn't it? Amazing ability. So when we're talking about these vibrational energies as seeds that we plant or that we sow, that then blossom and grow into our reality, we're talking about a very powerful ability. A very precise art form, if you think like that, like I do. Last week we talked about choosing the highest and best. When we choose the highest and best, when we plant seeds of the highest and best, when we think the highest and best, when we intend the highest and best, when we speak the highest and best, those seeds, what happens? We reap the highest and best. But as we talked about last week, the highest and best isn't something that's outside of ourselves. It's not something that's separate from us. No, it's our essence. It's who we are. Our essence is God, the highest and best. The goodness of life isn't separate from us. It's our nature. Our true nature is the highest and best. We can deny that, as many do, through a false belief in separation. But when we hold that belief, that vibrational energy, the opposite of the highest and best, that which seems to be not good, that which seems to be not heaven, begins to show up in our lives and in our world. Because we have the ability to choose either heaven or hell for our lives and for our world. We create either heaven or hell, the highest and best, or the lowest and worst. It's up to us. And we know that whatever we place our attention on, whatever we focus on, however you want to say that, begins to expand in our life and in our world. But that doesn't mean that there are two powers in the universe. It means that we have a great freedom. We have the freedom to choose how we're going to relate to life, how we're going to see ourselves, how we're going to see the world. It means that we have a great ability, the ability to create our reality, because what you see in life is what you're looking for. And by changing what you're looking for, you can radically change what shows up in your life and in our world. But it's not a question of this or that, or either or. I'm going to look at only the good and not look at the bad. I'm going to think only good thoughts and not think bad thoughts. I'm going to speak good words and try not to speak bad words. No, it's not an either or, this or that duality. It's coming into oneness. Coming into connection with the core of life. That's what Jesus did. He realized that all people are made in the image and likeness of the divine, that omnipotence, that omniscience is the nucleus of each one of us. And he held this consciousness, he held his life in this consciousness, I call it a consciousness of connection, until he felt totally connected to all of life. That he was conscious of his connection with God. That he was conscious of his wholeness and his oneness. And then he began to experience the manifestation of all power, all love, all goodness, all God, in and through and as him. He didn't look at life the way everyone else does, or did. No, he saw through spiritual eyes. We could say he saw through the eyes of God. He didn't hear things the way everyone else did. Things didn't register with him the way everything did with everyone else. No, we could say that he heard through spiritual ears, that he was in tune with the eternal song of the divine. But it wasn't because he was an exception to the rule. No, he was an example of the rule. And the rule is, I and the Father are one. We're not intended to function separately and apart from life. We are life. We're not intended to function separately and apart from God. We are all that God is. And when we connect with this core of life, deeply connecting to the truth about life, then we realize wholeness and oneness. That's when we find transformation. Hate transformed to love. Enemies transform to friends. Evil transform to good. We begin to see a heavenly world. But when we dwell in a state of separation, believing that we're fallen or flawed somehow, that we're somehow separate from God, which is not possible, then we can't see the manifestation of God all around us. We can't hear this eternal song of the divine. We can't hear this cosmic communication that's going on constantly and consistently with us. When we're in that place, that separate place, we don't have ears to hear and eyes to see. Life is always communicating with us. Life is always communicating with you. Life, God, the Creator, is always communicating and the majesty and glory of an awesome and amazing creation. You wake up in the morning, you walk out the front door, there they are, beautiful flowers, beautiful red hibiscus, just like they bloom just for you. As if they're saying, hey, look at me, aren't I beautiful? Isn't life amazing? Life is always communicating with you. Some people see numbers like 111 and 222. You've heard of that kind of thing. Happened to Kathy quite a bit just this last week. And some people say that's the angels or God or the universe communicating. Or maybe you haven't thought of somebody for a few years, and you say their name and then they text you. Happened to you, didn't it? Or a friend says something in a conversation and it's just exactly what you need to hear. Or they send you a YouTube video and it's just the most perfect thing for you at the most perfect time. Or you come to a Sunday morning and you hear a message that answers a question that you've always wondered about. Life is communicating through nature, through people. Life is always communicating with you. But are you listening? In Pam Grout's book, and we're starting the book studies this next week, so I hope you all have signed up for them because it's a delightful book. It's easy to read. It's not written in a real heavy spiritual way. It's just a fun book. But in that book, E Squared, she has 9 different principles with the exercises that are a lot of fun to do. But the very first principle is the dude abides principle. Anybody recognize that? It's from the movie The Big Lebowski. Anybody? I'm a big Big Lebowski fan. It's a quirky movie. It's a fun movie. It's become a cult classic. And if you go online, you'll find a lot of conversation about the spiritual and existential gems that are hidden in that movie. Jeff Bridges plays the dude. And he's a laid-back, easygoing, mellow, go-with-the-flow kind of guy. And in the last scene, after he and his friends had been all through these crazy adventures, he says, well, the dude abides. And it's kind of a vague statement, but it alludes to the idea that the dude lives in an imperturbable state of dudeness. And Pam Grout uses this to talk about the invisible, loving, abundant, totally hip energy force that is all around us, always available to all of us. And we can access it at any time simply by paying attention. So this morning, I want to ask you, are you paying attention? Are you listening for God? Are you looking for God? Because as you do, as you begin to see it all around you and within all people, then you come into this connection with the core of life. So I bless each one of you with all success. And so it is. I hope I've given you a lot to think about. We're going to go into a contemplation time right now. This month we've been studying the power of strength, spiritual strength. And Charles Fillmore said, spiritual strength is born in the silence of the soul. So we're going to go into the silence right now, time of contemplation. Our affirmation for this month is God is the strength of my life. So if you want to go into the silence and just take that affirmation with you and repeat that affirmation. I always like to do it 4 times, one for body, mind, spirit, and then to the synthesis of all. I just wanted you to take a moment just to review your week. Allow Spirit to speak to you, maybe bringing forth some ways in which life was communicating with you. reminding you of its presence, of its support. And silently affirm, God is the strength of my life. All around, in and through and as me. And now as you affirm, God is the strength of my life, just send that energy down through your body, through the chest area and through the back, to the small of your back especially, just as if it's your root. God is the strength of my life. Strengthen you just as if planting those seeds of truth into a healthy, nourishing soil, like a strong oak tree. And feel that strength go down your back and down into your legs, into your feet, grounding you. God is the strength of my life. And now as you take another deep breath and bring that energy back up through your legs and knees and thighs, on up into the root, filling your organs, your chest area, the lungs. Breathing in that oxygen, that prana life force, on up into the throat area. And in the throat area, just affirm, God is the strength of my life, silently. God is the strength of my life. And when you feel comfortable, you can come back to the room. Begin to open your eyes.